Well, I could talk a little about the origin of the World Commission, and it was an idea of Robert Mueller, who had worked 40 years officially at the UN and continued that work in many other capacities later. And Robert Mueller is one of the great visionaries of our times, and I mean that in a completely positive sense, and very pragmatic. He certainly is one of the most learned people on earth, I would say, who knows all of the steps of political and social and economic necessity, what we have to do in order to survive. And he is very optimistic. He's by nature optimistic. And he has suffered through incredible, horror in the Second World War. And he was right at the beginning of the founding of the UN when it took off the ground, and also had key positions at the UN, even assistant to the Secretary General on 3 occasions, 3 eras, and in charge of economic and social matters at the UN. And throughout, he always had a global vision. And he, in other words, he has a vision of the possibilities of the human race and enough pragmatic experience to be able to be realistic about it. And so it was his idea that there should be such a commission, because he saw how crucial spirituality was for the future of the human race. I mean, it's the highest and the greatest form of energy and the deepest form of groundedness and so forth. And he worked with U Thant. U Thant was his ideal, along with Dag Hammarskjöld. There have been at the UN some remarkably public, you could say, spiritual personalities, but also many, many people work in the UN who are motivated chiefly through spirituality. And so Robert thought, because the UN is built on a secular model, there is not within that framework itself a place, you could say, a formal structural place for religion and therefore spirituality, because religion and spirituality are intermingled. But even though there are many non-governmental organizations, religious non-governmental organizations, it's not right within the structure of the UN. So he thought that in the 90s, there were commissions that parallel some of the structures at the UN, such as the law of the sea, etc. And some of these commissions there were commissions that were set up to gather people who were experts in areas like the law of the sea. And they would look at the situation at the present time and give a report to the Secretary General on what might be done along these lines. So he said, we don't have anything on spirituality, and we need that very, very much. And so it was that perception that led to the shaping of this commission. And it's a great challenge. We have on the commission the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, people who have worked very pragmatically, not only for the spiritual enhancement of the human community, but the very building of this new collective harmonious community, which would be spiritually alive and energized. So that was the basis for the development of this. And although it's a very humbling task to be involved in this, and it seems as though it's the glory of the task and the enormity of the challenge is beyond estimation, but nevertheless it seems that we should do what we can do, and just having this, I think, is itself a positive.